Hey there, Stampin' friends. Welcome to Movie Monday with Jody Brackbill, Stampin' Queen. This is today's card we're going to create. Such a fun little quick card to do using our Paisleys Posies stamp set. This stamp is in our current holiday catalog, has a lot of offerings to go with it, so you can actually bundle with the set of framelits and do all the cool little cutouts. We've got embossing folders, we've got ribbon, we have awesome designer series paper, but right now we're just going to focus on the stamp set. So let's get moving. I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and the two ink pads I'm using today are Night of Navy and Watermelon Wonder. And with these ink pads, I think I've said this before in my other videos, they're very, very juicy. These are our firm foam pads. They're new within the past couple of years. The ink is designed to stay on the top of the ink pad and not really soak down in. And then photopolymer stamps are actually a little bit sticky. So when you put them together, the ink is made to go onto the stamp and the stamp is made to pull the ink. So you do not have to do a lot of pushing anymore. And so let me show you really quick what can happen. Hold on one sec. I want to make sure I have something to clean. Okay, so right now I have basically just laid that stamp right in the ink, and it actually has drawn the ink onto the stamp. I did not push at all. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Now, what happens when you do a little bit of pressure? Look what happens. You get ink all on the inside, and that was such light pressure. That was me basically tapping into the ink pad. We do not want that ink inside of there. So it's kind of a learning curve, but I know that we had a little bit of some issues in class the other day, and I just kind of wanted to help address that a little bit. So when you're stamping at home, you do not get frustrated with these ink pads because they are awesome and totally designed to really just give you a nice inked stamp image. So if you feel like you need to tap just real light a couple times in there and try to avoid that ink, but sometimes a habit to get into is just kind of laying that right in there, laying it right on the ink pad and really not doing too much pressure. So these are just some random images. Paisley is back, you guys. Any of you guys that lived through the 80s with me will be happy to know that Paisley is rearing its head again and making some fun images. I think, let me do a couple of these. I'm trying to kind of watch what I did on my last card and recreate that a little bit for you. So it's just random stamping because this is stamp class. That was kind of our private joke yesterday. I'm going to come in with a little bit of watermelon. And again, I'm just barely laying that in there. Just lightly laying it in the ink. Hardly any pressure at all, which is actually, it's an awesome thing. So what I have noticed with these new ink pads, I dipped my finger right in it, is that I do need to ink them a little bit more after a class. And you'll also notice as you're using it, you may have to start tapping a little bit in the ink a little bit harder as you start to pull the ink off of the pad. Is that making sense? So the more you're using your ink pads, the less ink there will be, and you might have to start tapping a little bit more. But right at the beginning, when they're really, really juicy, you really do not have to do much pressure to get a nice, solid image. So again, these are just all images that are in the Paisley and Posies stamp set, and I'm just randomly stamping. With watermelon and navy. Okay. Oh, I got a little bit of a smudge there, but that's okay. Okay. So now I took 2 strips. I have a gold foil strip and I have a Night of Navy strip, and I'm just going to do some snail adhesive right on the back side. And I just want a little bit of the gold to be seen. Not a lot, just a little sliver of it. And then I'm going to put some more snail adhesive on the back and do a little bit of our navy. And that one's going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so now I have my 2 strips on there, and they're sticking off just a smidge there on the end. So I'm just going to trim those guys off. And then I'm going to attach that to a piece of Whisper White. And this should just meet down here in the bottom. It's gonna lay, there's not going to be an edge or anything like that. It's just gonna cover the bottom of that white cardstock. Then I'm gonna use my Watermelon Wonder again and do my sentiment. And I'm going to change this out. Actually, I have someone in mind that I want to mail this card to. And so I just want to swap it out because I think I want it to say something different. Again, light taps in there. What I don't want to see is ink all over this whole block. There's a little bit there in the corner. I'm going to wipe that off. But I really don't want ink all over my block. I just want it right on my stamp itself. Okay. And then I'm just going to attach that piece to my watermelon card base, and I have a very quick and easy card. This card I did in my Just Cards class, which is my class where we do just quick and simple cards because we don't always have time to do wow cards all the time. Okay, so there we go. Now they were talking in class the other day, which some cute ideas would be you could put some little rhinestones or little pearls in there. You could even do some coloring in the little Paisleys if you wanted to kind of doctor it up a little bit if you want it to have a little bit extra to it. So this card is definitely a good one that you can take a step up. So thanks so much for dropping in and checking it out, and I will see you next week for Movie Monday.